Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Lab 5, and what we're going to be doing now is we've made our graphs, and so now we want to do our calculations for the table, okay? And this is the last piece that we need for at least the video portions of this lab. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a couple rows here, and I think 4 will be good. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to calculate the deviation of the center of pressure in the x direction and in the y direction. Okay, so what that's going to look like is calculating the absolute value of cell 2 minus cell 1. Okay, and I'm going to show you the wrong way to do it, and then I'll show you the right way to do it. So for the wrong way to do it, we take the absolute value of this cell minus this cell. Okay, so that looks right, right? It's off by 1/2. And then when I double click on that corner there and bring it all the way down, let's get down to the bottom there. Oh my, that's a huge number. That's not right. Okay, so the reason that happened is because up here we started on this cell and then we took this cell minus this cell, right? And so when we follow this formula all the way through and we go down to the bottom here, it takes this cell minus this cell, which is 170 minus 0, which is incorrect. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to move this down one, and then I'm going to delete it, and we're going to try this again. So now, for the right way to do it, we take the absolute value of this minus this. Okay, boom. And then when we right click and go all the way down, or not right click, double click, and we go all the way down, it stops here. Oh, that's better. That's the difference between those two. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing in the y direction. And so the really easy way to do this is to go like that. Okay, so watch. So I'm going to I'm going to click and hold and drag it over. Okay, so now what I'm doing is instead of C4 minus C3, I'm doing D4 minus D3. Okay, and I'm going to double click down, and hey, it's going to be the exact same as this guy. So now we have deviation, whoops, in the x direction, and we have deviation in the y direction. Whoops, deviation in the y. Okay, so the next thing we need is we need the sum of these deviations. All right, and so the way that we can do that is if we come here and we go equals sum of E colon E. All right. So what we're doing now is we're saying that I want to take the sum of all of the numeric values in this column. Okay. And then I hit enter. Woo! I don't know why that happened. That was a little weird. Okay. So now I have the sum in the x direction. All right. So we'll call this sum x. All right. And then we'll do sum y right here. All right, so another way to do this, and it will give us the exact same answer, is equals sum of this. Okay, so you see how that went from F to F? All right, or F colon F. I think it is of F to F. I want the entirety of that column in there. So now 68.04, 64.04. Now I want to take the total of those two. So I go total of 60 or equals, and then I can go click on that cell plus G3 plus G5 and enter. Or I could do equals sum of G3, comma, G5. Okay, I want to make sure that I show you that there are multiple different ways to do things in Excel, and they will bring you to the same answer. So now what I want to do is I actually want to take all of this. I'm going to take all of this and I'm going to copy. Whoops. It wants to work for me. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste it over here. Okay, so now I have deviation in the X, eyes closed, deviation in the Y. So I'm going to select both of these cells now and double click on the corner. And that's going to show me the deviation here. And we can see that there's a greater total deviation for the eyes closed versus the eyes open. And that is evident here as well, where we have a nice, very controlled displacement and deviations in the XY plane. And then we have less control and there's a lot more variability in this measure. Okay. So that is, that's that piece there. And so now in the table, what we have is we have our sum of the X, sum of the Y, and our total. So what I'm going to do is out here in sheet 3, I've already got them. So quiet closed. And what I can do is I could just do equals and then click that. Okay. Whoops. And then I'll hit enter and then because this is, and then I can do equals this, enter. So now all I'm doing is I could copy and paste, or I could do this. This is a little bit easier and it's a different way to show you all of these different ways to manipulate in Excel. Okay, so there's that. And then equals that equals this guy. So you should start to see patterns in these data. So you're going to have more deviation with eyes closed than eyes open. And you can see that I'm not, for these purposes, what I'm showing you, it doesn't matter the titles up here, but when you actually are doing this, pay attention to eyes open, eyes closed. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to come over here to my document 3 and put these all in document 3. Okay, so now I have the beginnings of my table where we have condition, and then we have each of our names or each of our titles up here, and then we have each of our values here. Center total COPX, total COPY, and then the total deviation or COPX plus COPY. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and I'm going to go into table design and I'm going to go borders. We're going to go, I think 1.5 point borders, and we're going to give it a bottom border. Okay, and then here we're going to go borders and we'll go right border. Boom, there we go. And that is how we want you to format the table. A couple of minor details here is where the text is, and so I like the text right there in the middle. And so you also need your units here, and so this is in millimeters, and then in millimeters, and then in millimeters. Okay, and we're going to drag this out just a little bit. Put everything on the same line. You could do it like that too. It's totally up to you. And then we have, and that's how we want you to format these tables. Well, thank you very much for listening, and I hope you found this helpful. We'll talk with you soon.